What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Honeystead. Look who I got up here with me.
Hi, everybody.
I have been getting a lot of people, they've been asking, where's my mama? And so we finally were able to get her back up here with us. One of the projects that my mom and I wanted to start working on is building back our kitchen apothecary. You guys, before we had this space, we kept all of our herbs in our sweet little kitchen apothecary. And that actually brought up a conversation about us sharing with you guys some of our favorite herbs that we use on a fairly daily basis, and maybe to help kind of show that it's possible for you guys to start your own kitchen apothecary with just a few herbs. I just set that camera down. My arm was hurting.
And okay. I'm trying to narrow down our list again.
No, it's gonna be too hard. This is the hard part, is how to hone it down, because not everybody is going to need a space like this. And I want you guys to know that please don't let this intimidate you.
Oh no.
And that is absolutely something that we've been working at this for years, and our intention for our apothecary is a little different than a home kitchen apothecary.
Right.
Our apothecary is for more of a specialized
individualized
correct approach to herbal medicine, which is why we have so many.
Right.
But
they do holler out, though. I will tell you, every time you start to try to limit.
Yeah.
But the herbs themselves will. I have to say this, they'll speak and they're like, but what about me?
Well,
but what about me?
I know. And
me.
Exactly.
And me.
And
then it becomes this.
And then you want them all. Thomas and Lulu from Free Range Art Farm, they made these for us.
And he listened too, because I said I want something that you can hold.
Yeah, and it's
just
perfect.
Cup in your hand, and this is perfect.
All right, we got to start talking about some herbs, because this is going to be really, really hard. But we're going to kind of start with the concept of most people will drink teas when they're not feeling well or they need sleep. So those
are the two topics.
That's what we're going to start with for trying to hone in.
Yes.
But a lot of these herbs, most of these herbs, actually all of these herbs,
have more than one action.
Right. And that's what we want you to understand.
Right.
All right. So my first one that I'm going to pick is sweet chamomile. I absolutely love chamomile. It tastes so sweet. It
tastes like honey.
It's so good, and you can do so many things with it. You can make it into a tincture. You can add it into a tea. You can
make a glycerite with it.
You can take chamomile, take the tea bag afterwards, and place it on your eye if you have a sty in your eye. So chamomile is an anti-inflammatory. It's an anti-spasmodic, which I find is very helpful. You brought up a very good point. I was thinking more of your muscles, aches and pains with the anti-inflammatory, but
that's great too. But the chamomile, when you're not feeling good and your gut is crampy, or your belly doesn't feel good, the anti-spasmodic effects from chamomile settles it, and it just kind of smooths things down so they're not so irritated or hot or angry, I guess would be a good word. When your belly hurts, it's angry. So calm it down.
I like chamomile. I think that's a very good one to add. And I think that the flavor of it is also very, just so sweet and so beautiful. I will say, though, that if you are allergic to any flower or any plant in the Asteraceae family, to just be mindful of that, because chamomile might be one that you don't want to introduce.
Really, and I love chamomile. Just a cup of just chamomile is absolutely divine, especially when you're in one of those, like, you just want to snuggle up, you know, in a warm blanket, cold rainy day, take a nap.
What's yours?
Oh, okay. So my next one is, it's going to have to be Tulsi.
Yeah, I like Tulsi.
I love Tulsi for so many reasons. I mean, especially on the adaptogen side, which is another action, which just helps your body move through stress a little less rigidly.
Right.
I think it kind of, you're still going to have all of this, but maybe with Tulsi, it just kind of helps to bring it a little bit more into a lower high and a higher low, I guess is the good way to say
I
that.
say that any plants that are good adaptogens, it's kind of like settling the water, you know, and it just kind of makes you just even keel, you know, be able to handle. And it's not stress necessarily as in like your external stress as from somebody else. It could be environmental, it could be the weather changes.
It could also be internal stress.
Yeah,
like if
absolutely.
you're dealing with recovery from an injury, you know, again, hitting that for your body, it's a win-win. Plus it tastes wonderful.
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does. And the flowers that it produces for our pollinators are also very vital. It has thousands of blooms on it. So when our bees are out foraging on it, it's just, you can see how happy they are. So I agree. I think Tulsi is a very good one. Some people don't like Tulsi.
And that's okay.
I love
I think it is a love-hate relationship with
like
it.
cilantro, but it doesn't, Tulsi has nothing to do with cilantro.
Oh, I was going to go with
like
Valerian. Yeah, I was going to go with Valerian.
I like Valerian too. I think the next one that I think that I would add for just your overall, I think stinging nettles would be one. Stinging nettles is one that I would add mainly because of it basically hits all areas of the body. It is a tonic. It is very supportive for your overall
nutrition for your body too.
Absolutely.
And those micronutrients that it offers.
That I think is why, plus antihistamine wise.
Right.
If you are congested and you're just not feeling good and if you've got a lot of like a head cold, that I think would be very beautiful to add stinging nettles in with chamomile because you have your anti-inflammatory and you have the antihistamine properties. So this is where formulating, okay, you know you got one herb, now let's work with it together. And what I love about blending herbs, and when you're picking your herbs, a lot of them have a synergetic relationship.
Right.
They don't cancel each other out, they enhance each other.
Right.
And that was one of the big questions that I had is like, well, why are you blending all of these herbs? Aren't they just good as they are?
They are.
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
But now you're adding two.
Right, which is making it, boom, even more. So.
And then there are some herbs that are actually a catalyst and actually end up making that herb work even more efficiently, I guess would be the best way. But going back to nettles, the one thing I want to touch on with nettles, the reason why I love it is a mover. It will get into your lymphatic system or your fluids and cause your body to release that.
Yeah.
So when you're stagnant, you know, or you're inflamed, you need to get those fluids going through.
Oh, yeah.
So I love nettles for that. Just be careful if you're going out foraging. You will find it in flip-flops in a field, I promise.
Yeah,
I promise.
it stings. It stings, but it's a good one to have. Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, what's your next?
I'm going to go with the E's, and I'm going to say it together. I mean, you've got echinacea, which is an automatic, but you know, for all of the reasons of echinacea, I mean, the antiviral, antimicrobial purposes, when you're not feeling good, this is one that it's a great herb to introduce into your body to help your body getting better, especially if you're sick in your chest or in your head, just your whole body.
Right, and it's very much of an immune support as well. That's the focus. But echinacea,
yep.
You do want to be mindful though, and only use it for like a 2-week period is what we practice.
This is just, it's one of those heavy bats. Get in there, hit it hard for a quick, short period of time, and then move on, to other herbs.
Right. I like echinacea. I'll also add, I think one of the stories that I remember Teresa, our herbal school teacher, what she shared with us is echinacea is good to have in a survival experience. If you are out and you get bit by a snake, you can take the echinacea and like make a poultice and put it where you've been bit, and it'll help pull out the venom from it. So I thought that was interesting. I definitely would keep that growing in the garden, because you never know.
You never know.
And plus the bees like it, so there's that. All right, what's your next one? Because I think you were going to go you're sticking with the E's?
That's what I said. It's the 2 E's.
All right, then I'll just say it. Elderflower and elderberry.
Yep.
Elderflower it's really good. It will kind of bring on.
It will bring a fever on.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So if you kind of need to fight something, add a little bit into that. We take elderflower.
And infuse in honey.
Yeah, and that's delicious. I always leave a lot of the flowers. I don't harvest too many of them because I want the berry. So if you harvest the flower, make sure you leave some for the berry.
Right.
The berry is really good to have, especially for if you're making like an elderberry syrup. If you need a cough syrup, that's good. We've infused honey with elderberry. I think it's lovely for your immune system and a good one to have. Absolutely. And so far, all the ones that we have said grow. They can grow right outside.
They're freely growing. Yes.
Well, chamomile and Tulsi you can plant. Stinging nettles though, that's all over, and elder as well. I also like elder because for our pollinator friends, and I've shared this in the past, an acre of elderberry, a grove, will produce up to 800 pounds of pollen for your pollinators. And so I look at the plants and I look at their medicinal properties and I'm like, gosh, there's such a connection for our pollinators and for their health as well. So
for their health.
I'm going on another realm. Hone it in. What's your next one?
Okay, so I think actually I'm going to end up having to go. I'm going to choose the mint family, but there's 3 mints that I would like to, either one or all 3, and really it would be all 3 for me. So I'm just going to say it. There's catmint, peppermint, and spearmint.
They all kind of do something a little different though.
Right. So the peppermint, I'll just start with the peppermint. So the peppermint's one, it tastes wonderful. And all those volatile oils that come through when you're brewing a cup of peppermint tea, it is for your whole sinus respiratory system. It's going to open that up. It's also great if your tummy's not feeling good. Yeah. Peppermint is great for your tummy. I mean, and then it goes into taste preference. I'll let you speak on, because peppermint's more my favorite. You also got to be careful with it though. If some people have a tendency to have a tummy that doesn't like peppermint.
Right.
It might be too strong.
But you can cut it a little bit. I agree. I like peppermint, but I also like spearmint. I like the sweetness to it because I do add honey to a lot of my teas, but I feel like sometimes when you add spearmint into your tea blend, it offers that little bit of a sweetness. The same, helping with just having an upset stomach.
And the aromatics, the oils, but it's not as
strong,
harsh.
Right.
Yeah.
So peppermint's very it's peppermint.
Yeah.
Spearmint, it smells
like, that tastes like peppermint.
Right. It's sweet. It's spearmint gum. If you've ever had spearmint gum, that's essentially what it tastes like.
It does sometimes, and if you go real heavy, sometimes the tea, when you open it up, it smells like gum.
Yeah, it is. So you have to be just a little bit. But catnip, though, which is catnip, that's the same plant, still in the mint family. I agree. I think I think
catmint is great. It's the whiny baby mint, and the reason why I say the whiny baby is because it is good for children.
Right.
You know, that same thing, that teething, that fussy, I can't sleep, I don't feel good.
I know adults that could use catmint. So that teething, that whining.
So it's gonna go in Kaylee's daily tea bottle.
No, not. I mean, maybe I could probably use it.
I'm teasing.
But yeah,
it
is good, and it's not. It is the same though as catnip that you would give your cat.
Right.
Yeah, it is something that your cat would go completely spazoid over, but for human consumption, it's the opposite. It's very like.
Oh, and what was I remember reading something about the catmint, and it had to do with the nursery rhyme. Oh, I'll have to find that.
Yeah, you'll have to find that.
It was a little history thing. It's kind of, it was very interesting.
Yeah. We'll find that on the next video when we do something. But yeah, I remember.
It had something to do with like the Pied Piper and the catnip and the.
Yeah, okay. That's what I'll do. I'll find that story and I'll post that on my Instagram.
So, all right. So we actually covered 3 mints on that one. So I got to write that down. So we did peppermint,
what number
spearmint.
Are we at?
I don't know. You count. And
okay, so you don't
catmint.
have to have all. Well, yeah.
We'll let you decide.
Yeah.
Because you're going to start with 5.
Yeah.
It's going to be 12.
Yeah.
So maybe herb math is like bee math?
Yeah. It is. Herb math and bee math are the same thing.
Is that like chicken?
It's the same thing.
Is it chicken math?
It's the same thing.
Oh my God, you guys. Oh.
All right, my next one that I think they're gonna just get them all, just grow them all.
See what I mean?
Yeah, you'll use it. It's fine. The next one I think I would add is Mullen, and the reason is because it's really good for your respiratory system. There's a few different ways that you can actually use Mullen. I mean, you can put it into a tea. I will tell you though, if you are blending Mullen that's dried, cover your face.
We were in here. We had harvested a whole bunch of Mullen.
We were drying it.
And we were like, I'm itching. And we're like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm gonna sneeze.
It's like insulation, you know, if you've ever messed with insulation, that's what it felt like on us. But we were sneezing, we had to cover our face.
Yeah,
all those little hairs, they get up in your nose, and
it was fine when we were storing it, getting it ready, prepping it to dry. But then when it dried and we went to moving it was just like,
so just be mindful of that. When you were, not necessarily for small amounts, we were doing a large amount.
I think, what did we harvest? Like
it was a lot
or something.
It was
crazy.
A lot. And we have more growing, but Mullen is great. Very good for your respiratory system. You can tincture it as well. We have some tincture that we use, especially in any of our protocols or formulas
for the respiratory.
Specifically for respiratory, and you can smoke it, and that's something that
was it. During a respiratory, it was suggested that you try smoking some Mullen, and I can personally report that it did create a very cooling effect in my lungs. I had the bronchitis stuff, whatever was going around, and I was just like, I can't do this anymore.
So I was like, here.
Yep, it encourages
the Mullen.
Yeah, it encourages you to cough. It does bring on that. So
it's an expectorant.
And then it actually calmed it down. It was very interesting, and I appreciate that was shared with us about that, because I would have. Smoke? I don't smoke.
Right. That's something most people will do it as a tea, but no, it's a good one. That is a good one to add. All right, I think my next one that I'm gonna add. This list is getting.
Well, how many do we have? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do we count? 8, 9, 10?
No.
8.
I want them all. Okay.
You can't.
I know. This is too hard. I'm just gonna go with, we're gonna go back to the nerves. I think oat straw, oat straw or oat tops. It's the same. It's Avena sativa. I think I absolutely love Avena sativa. I love adding the oat straw into my tea blends. It's very nourishing and extremely full of minerals for your body. When you grow it and you harvest the oat tops, you can dry the oat tops, or you can actually harvest them when they're green, and you blend it up and you set it up as a tincture to extract all that milky, all of that packed full of just full-on goodness. But that's milky stage
The
oats.
nutrients of it, right?
But I like the oat straw as well in our teas. It's very good. It's a good filler, but then it also offers a lot of minerals for your body. So
Oat straw is probably, well, the milky stage oats, the tincture of the milky stage oats, that has been an absolute blessing to be introduced. So yes, it does. It is so good for all, when you're not feeling good, you're not eating right, so you need the extra nutrients that some of these herbs may offer, and oat straw would be one, to help to add to your body. Okay, so now I'm going to hit sleep, and I'm going to go with Skullcap. I think Skullcap would be a very good addition. The Skullcap, what I like about it is usually, for me, if I'm trying to go to sleep, and I've got something on my mind, I have the mind that does this. So it's a chatterbox up there sometimes. So the Skullcap just kind of helps to, you don't have to think about that right now. And it just helps me clear my thoughts, gives my mind a rest. And then also it relaxes me. It is a nervine. So it does relax the whole body. And that helps me go to sleep.
Right. Especially if you're not feeling good too, because rest, sometimes is the best thing for when you're not feeling good. And so Skullcap is a great little addition to your apothecary in dried herbs. You can tincture it and you can make it as a tea, and both of them taste fairly good.
Whereas the Valerian, which is another one that's very good, that's a love-hate relationship with some people, like lavender too. You either love it or you hate it. It's one or the other. But
I'm not a big fan of lavender.
Yep.
I love it growing, but I don't like it in a tea form. Yep. I've had it in a tea form. I think it tastes like soap to me, but I do like the smell of lavender, just not ingesting it.
So, and Skullcap, I can't stand the smell, or not Skullcap, I'm sorry, Valerian. I can't stand the smell of Valerian, but the effects of Valerian and the allowing to sleep, it's wonderful. Valerian would go as a slash for me, Skullcap and or Valerian. But it does smell like
I think Valerian is more of a heavy hitter.
Right.
To me, Skullcap,
that's a night-night.
Yeah, that's a knockout. That's not a night-night. That is a knockout. But I do agree. I think that, that is very good to add. I think lemon balm would probably be my next one that I would add, mainly because I know how easy it is to grow, and the bees also love it. It blooms and it's gorgeous. But lemon balm is very good for your nervous system and just kind of settling yourself if you are experiencing anxiety and stress. And to me, it doesn't knock me necessarily out. It relaxes me, but I can still kind of go about my day.
It helps bring a little joy in, or lift your spirit. It's a spirit lifter, I guess. Lifter.
I also know that it is also good for your stomach. When you get that anxious stomach, when you're, and then anxiety just kind of like
balls up
right here, lemon balm kind of helps settle that. It is a carminative as well.
Okay.
So, that's kind of the thought process of helping. So that I do really like lemon balm, and it pairs really good with milky stage oats as a tincture. That is probably that lemon balm, milky stage oats, and passion flower and mimosa, I think are really good to add. But okay.
You added two more.
I'm focusing.
You did two more.
Okay, what next?
All right, so the next plant that I think that I would most certainly include in my home apothecary is going to be yarrow. When you learn the story of yarrow, the first thing that you're going to learn about it is that it's a styptic, which means it will help stop bleeding. So if you take the plant matter and make a poultice, moisten it, and put it directly on that area, it will help,
stop the bleeding
because of its natural properties that are in that. And then from my own personal experience, she might put the video of that up on there too. I will tell you, it is a diaphoretic, and it will cause you to sweat and bring out a fever. So it's
There's a whole story on that. We'll get into that another day.
So, and if you have any deep-seated resentments, a yarrow is especially helpful in ridding yourself of those. But anyway.
It also is an anti-inflammatory. So when you're not feeling good, it's one that you can add into your tea as well. And it's going to bring on that fever. It's going to help with inflammation. I also know that it has antiviral properties as well. So I think yarrow is a good one. Plus, it grows right outside.
Right.
And it's easy to grow. I mean, literally, you can just take the seeds and just...
You don't even have to do seeds.
Just throw them.
It's a naturally growing plant in a lot of different areas. But, you know, as always, just like with anything, if you're not sure...
Do your research.
Right. Do your research.
And double check. And come this next season, we're going to be really diving into yarrow. And I'm going to be showing them how we start them a seed and the process so that they can learn how to identify it. So when you are going out and foraging or you're growing your own, it can help. But I think yarrow is a good one to add. You can tincture it, and you can make it as a tea, and it's...
Or use it as dried plant matter as well.
And a poultice. So very good one to add. We have a lot that we could really dive into, and there are more. I think that we're going to save... I want to do marshmallow root. I think marshmallow is a good one.
I would say that's a must. It may not be one that you use a lot of, but if you don't discount marshmallow root. There's a lot of very good properties with marshmallow root, and one of the ones that I really liked is it's because it's that demulcent,
that mucilage that's in it when you make a cold infusion.
Mm-hmm. And if you're dehydrated,
your gut
or your gut health is just so off balance, you know, maybe you ate something that didn't agree with you, or you've had an ailment that, you know, your gut and everything was affected.
Yeah.
Marshmallow root just helps bring back the moisture and the mucilage that your gut health needs. So if leaky gut syndrome, that's a great addition. I would go to plantain. But that would be plantain would be another one. That was the other one that I was talking about.
I mean, and then not only that, but plantain broadleaf plantain grows kind of right outside. So a lot of the things that you can have in your apothecary, you can get from right outside. Mm-hmm. If it's in your area, obviously. But yeah, the connective tissue, supporting that aspect for plantain. I mean, it's gut health is kind of everything. If you really look at it,
right.
If your gut's not healthy, then something's throwing off, which means that you're not in homeostasis, and you need to bring it back.
So, you're not, and you've got to think about it too. You're not absorbing things the way that you could be absorbing things if your gut health is not healthy.
Or you're, eating something that's not necessarily good for you and throwing you off. There's a whole. Another
series of videos just talking about the gut health.
Not only that, but we still have a lot that we could discuss, and these are specific for kind of more tea blending in a way, but syrup making with the elderberries. I think the cold infusion, we need to show them how to do a cold infusion one day with the marshmallow root. Mm-hmm. But we haven't even started talking about the thyme or the oregano.
Or the rosemary.
Or the ginger. And that's something that...
Or the garlic.
Right. That's food. So plants, this is technically considered as a food.
Right.
And so it is the same in that thought process. So bringing the herbs back into your kitchen, whether you're using them to cook with, you can use rosemary in a tea even.
Right.
I mean, oregano and thyme doesn't taste very good in a tea.
No, not even as a tincture. I'd rather cook with it and eat it that way.
But that's right there, exactly that. Bringing the herbs that you know that you're going to use on a normal basis and cooking with them. Mm-hmm. We cook with the more color in a meal, the better.
Yep. Rainbow, rainbow, rainbow. I mean, if we can get all the color factors in,
then we're winning.
I mean, your food is alive. It's healthy. We're eating. This just kind of happened. So we're eating food for the the nutritive values,
Right.
the nutrition value, because it's good for our body. It feeds our body. So that's on the culinary side.
Right.
Right? But the herbs are nutrition too.
Absolutely.
So that nutrition that we're getting in a different form, it's for our bodies too.
But a lot of these you can easily forage for.
Right.
And grow. But that's what we're getting ready to get into. We're just at the start of our growing season, and I'm excited. I'm excited to show you guys the seeds, which I did do that video of talking about a few medicinal plants, medicinal seeds that we're going to start growing. But this is kind of the pre getting your kitchen apothecary together. You know, you don't have to have,
and you don't have to have all of these.
Right.
Pick one.
Yeah, or two. Start with two. You know, learn them individually. Learn how they taste. When we started doing this, we experienced what each herb did, what it tasted like.
Tasted like, how you could use it, what it was good for, how it was used, and we really experienced.
Yeah, we hit them. But that's the whole thought behind this. There are more that you can start with. This is more of a simple kind of the ones that we use on a daily basis. But yeah, the herbs for cooking we 100% use on a daily basis. And it doesn't necessarily have to be dried. It can be fresh. But I think we've hit on a good amount to start this conversation with. I have a feeling we're going to keep going with this.
Well, there's a whole other category, and that's the flower plants, you know, like lavender, rose, calendula. I mean, there's, you know, the hibiscus. I mean, so you know, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. But at some point, either, you know, you got to start. Or if you're curious, you know, I know a lot of people use the brand of teas, herbal teas that come in a box. And what's really interesting is when you read that herbal tea blend that might be in that box, you know, there may be a whole lot of ingredients, but most of them are very simple.
At least 5 to 7.
Right.
You know, more simpler on store-bought.
But you can do this.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can blend your own. And that's something that I've enjoyed taking and bringing the camera and just showing the method to our madness on why we are picking this herb. But one of the big things is just you have the herbs, you have to use them. Right. But what I want to say is that this, you know, introducing yourself to herbs and understanding how they act in your body and the actions that they cause, it's not unattainable. You can do this, and that's where we're just taking you guys with us and kind of showing. So thank you guys for watching, and as always,
don't be afraid to get your hands dirty
and learn something old.
Bye.
Bye.